Alright guys, today is National Fondue Day, as well as National Shower with a Friend Day. So we're going to be doing a Pyramids of Egypt tier list. Let's just get into it. Pyramid of Djoser. Alright, well first things first, I'm not going to be rating all the pyramids, just the ones on Wikipedia's list of pyramids. And if it didn't make that list, it's just not good enough. So anyway, the Pyramid of Djoser, this was created in the 3rd Dynasty, which was the first dynasty of the Old Kingdom about 4.6 thousand years ago. It's the first step pyramid, and you can probably see why it looks like a bunch of steps. And you know, there's not a very original design, but it was the first one. So, you know, it has 6 steps, and the only one with any significant damage is the bottom one. So I would say it held up exceptionally well, especially being the very oldest one, so I'm going to put it in A tier. Moving on to the Pyramid of Sekhemket, also known as the Buried Pyramid. This is where things get a little disappointing. This thing was completely buried and it wasn't finished. It would have been a little taller than the last one. Let's see, the first pyramid was 204 feet. This one would have been 240, but it wasn't finished. And he was still buried in it despite not finishing it, so that's going to have to be an F tier. Before I move on, one thing I'd like to mention is that inside this pyramid enclosure they found the name Imhotep engraved, which is the same name of the legendary architect who designed the original step pyramid, the Pyramid of Djoser. If he's the one that designed this pyramid, it could be a little bit of a redemption, but we don't really know. But Imhotep is such a legendary figure that not only was he revered as a god thousands of years later in the New Kingdom, but in 2015 they also made a manga about him, and he looks like this. Absolutely legendary. Imhotep would get S tier. He's not a pyramid, so moving on. The Layer Pyramid. Things don't get a lot better from here. The Layer Pyramid is believed to have been owned by Kaba, the 3rd pharaoh of the 3rd Dynasty. Although it's not completely confirmed, but if that's the case, this guy only ruled for 4 years and still managed to do a lot better than the last guy. But it was also uncompleted. It would have been about 140 feet tall, but today it's only 56 feet tall. It's better than being literally under the ground, but as far as the construction goes, it's not really all that unique. It's just the same design as the step pyramid. It would have been a little more modest, you know, only 5 steps instead of 6, so smaller overall, which I do respect. And he did the best he could in this short reign. I'm going to give this one a C tier. The Meidum Pyramid. This is where shit starts to get real. At this point, there's been like 3 or 4 pharaohs in a row that haven't even made a decent pyramid. So this new guy, Sneferu, I believe this was the first pharaoh of the 4th Dynasty. He decides he's going to come in and create the first true pyramid, which is basically not a step pyramid, but just smooth all the way up. Which, as you can see, they didn't really succeed in doing that with this one. The reason is they tried to build it up, they created the outer casing, but while they were building it, it collapsed, and so now it looks like this. The majority is actually covered in sand. It would have 8 steps and would be over 300 feet tall, but the top step is completely missing. The one below that is mostly destroyed. So this pyramid was considered a failure, but I actually think it looks better this way. The steep steps make it look a little different than the rest of the pyramids, so I'm going to put it in B tier. The Bent Pyramid. So Sneferu did not give up after his first attempt. Actually, they built this one at the same time as the Meidum Pyramid. And as you can see, they succeeded in creating a smooth pyramid, but yet again they completely failed to create a true pyramid. The whole thing just looks a little fucked up. The reason it looks like this is because halfway during construction they realized the angle was too steep and the whole thing was probably going to collapse if they kept going at that angle. So they finished the angle, or they changed the angle and completed it. I do have to give them props for finishing it, but it just looks stupid, I'm sorry, in my opinion. Maybe that's going to make some of you nerds mad to hear, because the pyramid is obviously still very impressive. I just can't force myself to like it. The only thing I can really give props for is the fact that it's really the only pyramid to still have most of its outer casing. So the whole thing still looks smooth to this day, but that's only somewhat redeeming. I'm going to put it in C tier. Red Pyramid. So after learning from his previous mistakes, Neferu pulled no punches and went out on his final pyramid, resulting in this. This pyramid is about the same height as the Bent Pyramid, but looks far more impressive. It was basically the first true pyramid. And there's not a lot to say about this pyramid, honestly. It used to have an outer layer, making it a lot smoother, but some people in the Middle Ages mined all of it for other construction projects. Regardless, I'm giving it the credit it deserves and putting an S tier. Neferu's efforts were not in vain, and surely a greater monument could never be built. Anyway, moving on to the Great Pyramid of Giza, this one needs no introduction. It is quite a lot bigger than the Red Pyramid. Basically, after Neferu died, his son Khufu took the throne, and I'm guessing he had some beef with his dad because he decided to immediately upstage him and build a pyramid that would become known as the oldest ancient wonder of the world. This thing's base was 10 meters larger, but originally had a height of 146 meters or 90 feet taller than the Red Pyramid, meaning that this pyramid also had quite a steeper angle, because I guess he wasn't scared of another bent pyramid fiasco. It was built in about 26 years, which is pretty crazy, honestly. I'm already 21 and I haven't even built a single pyramid yet. Originally it had a shiny white limestone casing, and who can forget the massive golden capstone. That's apparently a myth. So I guess there was never actually a golden capstone. It might have had one that looked like this, which is still pretty cool. To top it all off, this pyramid's Wikipedia page is like 100 times longer than the Red Pyramid's, although I'm not reading all that. S tier. Pyramid of Giza. So, Khufu got unalived, and now his son takes the throne. He decides he's going to continue on the family legacy and build the largest pyramid ever constructed. But I'm guessing his dad must have spent all the funds, because this thing was never completed. And just look at it today. If it was finished, it would have been about as tall as the current third largest pyramid, but it wasn't. And during Roman times, they decided it wasn't worth keeping around anymore and started taking all the blocks away for other construction projects, and also just as a matter of spite. D tier. Pyramid of Baka. This pyramid doesn't exist anymore. Only the burial chamber does. I'm only mentioning it because I thought the name was funny. Pyramid of Khafre. There's not a lot that's super unique about this pyramid. It's the second tallest with a height of 448 feet, or 471 feet originally. So it basically stacks up pretty well to the Great Pyramid. I'm slightly biased because Khafre also built the Sphinx, but one thing I thought was funny is that this pyramid actually was built at a higher elevation than the Great Pyramid, making it appear to be taller. That's a massive troll move, so I'm going to give this one S tier as well. Moving on to the Pyramid of Menkaure. This pyramid is the third largest one you see in all those classic Pyramid of Egypt pictures, but it's quite a lot smaller than the other two and really doesn't have anything going for it. The most distinct thing you'll notice is the big gash on its side, which happened in the 12th century AD, when a sultan ruler tried to demolish the Egyptian pyramids for some reason, but that's as far as he got. I'm guessing that wasn't an intentional design feature, so the only reason this pyramid is even all that notable is its proximity to the other two. I'm going to put it in C tier though, because it's still a pretty distinct pyramid, and as you'll see later on, not all pyramids still look this nice. The Queen's Pyramids. So Menkaure also built these three little pyramids next to the bigger one, and I actually really like these ones. Only one was a true pyramid, with the other two being unfinished step pyramids. It's speculated that these were built as tombs for Menkare's queens slash half-sisters, and in one of them they found a pink granite sarcophagus. That's just cute. I'm gonna put these ones in A tier. Also, respect for Menkare for building pyramids for his girls. I don't see any other pharaohs doing that. Pyramid of Userkov. This is where things really start to go downhill. I'm not sure what happened, but this was the first pyramid built during the 5th Dynasty, and clearly they just didn't care as much about building pyramids. They probably figured it would be impossible to outdo their predecessors anyway. So he probably just figured he'd build a small little pyramid to get over with, and the result of that is pretty obvious. It was a true pyramid at the time, but this thing is just totally ruined now. At least he didn't build it in Giza, so we don't have to look at it when we go see the other ones. D tier. Pyramid of Sahre. This one doesn't look like much. According to Wikipedia, this marked an era where the architects started focusing on more the interior of the pyramid rather than the outside. Just to quote Wikipedia, compared to the preceding 4th Dynasty, the immensity of the constructions was dramatically reduced, but in tandem, the decorative program proliferated and temples were augmented by enlarged storeroom complexes. The complex is estimated to have had 10,000 meters squared of finely carved relief adorning its walls, of which 150 meters squared has been preserved. Some of these reliefs are considered unparalleled in Egyptian art. I just don't really care, honestly. It was probably pretty cool at the time, but it just doesn't hold up. I'll put it in B tier just because of this cool picture I found on Wikipedia. We got a little small dynasty thing, like a little family business going on. This one had a slightly different construction. I'm just going to read from Wikipedia again. Neferakare's pyramid deviated from convention as it was originally built as a step pyramid, a design that had been antiquated after the 3rd Dynasty. This was then encased in a second step pyramid with alterations intended to convert it into a true pyramid. However, the pharaoh's death left the work to be completed by his successors. The remaining works were completed in haste using cheaper building material. Pretty lame, in my opinion, to just die and leave your kids to finish it for you. But because of that, I'm putting it in D tier. I do respect the return to tradition with the inside step pyramid, so I'm edging on C tier. But I don't know. I don't think I can do it. Anyway, the Pyramid of Neferefre. I could be getting this wrong. From what I'm reading, it sounds like Neferefre was Neferkare's brother. And their pyramids were built right next to each other, but after Neferefre died and the pyramid was unfinished, they just converted it into a square mastaba. Because they were probably too busy trying to finish up Neferekare's pyramid and just couldn't be bothered to finish another dead king's pyramid. I'm not sure, I could be spreading misinfo, but if that's true, that's pretty funny. I'm going to put the square mastaba next to his brother pyramid in D tier. Unfinished Pyramid of Abu Sir. This one was supposed to have been made for Shepseskare, but the project was abandoned after only a few weeks as evidenced by the presence of incomplete preparatory work. Skip. I'm going to skip that one. Pyramid of Nusere. During his reign, Nusere had the unfinished monuments of his father, Neferkare Kakai, mother Kentaus II, and brother Neferefre completed, before commencing work on his personal pyramid complex. It was another true pyramid with a step core. Overall not super original or really all that impressive, but I will give him major props for finishing his parents' pyramids. And when he died, it was pretty much finished, as I understand it, so I'll put this one in C tier. The Headless Pyramid, another pyramid with only the two remaining, hence the name. It looks like it would have just been another boring 5th Dynasty pyramid. I put D tier, but I think it's going to be F tier. I don't know. Pyramid of Djedkare Isesi. Kind of just looks like a big pile of dirt. The inside is also pretty small. It was a true pyramid at the time, but at this point, that's not really impressing anybody, is it? So I'm going to put it in F tier. Pyramid of Unas. Its Egyptian name translates to the places of Unas or are beautiful. Well, not anymore, I guess. I'm going to put that in F tier. Pyramid of Teti. This is the first pyramid of the 6th Dynasty. This one's name translates to the places of Teti will endure. And that just clearly wasn't true, so I'm going to put it in F tier as well. The Pyramid of Merenre. The Pyramid of Merenre. The beauty of Merenre appears. I don't know what they were doing during the 6th Dynasty. I mean, I'm guessing most of these were destroyed afterwards, but there's just absolutely nothing left of these things. I mean, most of them just look like hills of sand. So F tier as well. Pyramid of Pepi II. It was the final full pyramid complex to be built in ancient Egypt, according to Wikipedia. That's not a good sign, to be honest. This one is at least somewhat intact compared to the other 6th Dynasty ones, so I'm going to put it in D tier. Pyramid of Ebi. Continuing the theme of these things just being totally destroyed. This one doesn't even have a picture. So, immediate F tier. And from here, it seems like Egypt went into sort of a dark period for about 125 years, and for the first 3 dynasties of this period, no pyramids at all were built. There was one square structure thing, but that's obviously not a pyramid, so I'm not going to rate it. There was one pyramid made during the 10th dynasty, but it's still undiscovered. I don't know how they know about it then, but that's crazy. Anyway, at this point, we are long past the prime of Egyptian pyramid building, and it only really gets more depressing from here. But let's see. So from the 12th dynasty we have, I'm just going to rapid fire these things because none of them are very cool. Pyramid of Amenemhet. Nothing super interesting about this one. Apparently he started to build it at Thebes. I don't know if I said that right, but for whatever reason he switched his capital and the location of his pyramid. It was at one point 55 meters. But according to Wikipedia, the overall construction of the pyramid was poor and little of it remains today. So, another depressing pyramid, I'm putting that in F tier. Pyramid of Senusret the First. Okay, I'm just going to read this. The pyramid used a method of construction never before seen in an Egyptian pyramid. 4 stone walls radiated from the center, built of rough-hewn blocks that decreased in size the higher their placement. The 8 sections formed by these walls were then subdivided by 3 more walls, splitting the pyramid into 32 different units, which were then filled with slabs of stone as well as debris. An exoskeleton of fine limestone then covered the structure. This new method of construction was not particularly efficient, however, and the completed pyramid suffered from stability problems, and it has been severely damaged over time. However, at least there's something unique about it. There was also a bunch of smaller pyramids around it, it looks like. So they put a little bit of effort into this one. I'll put it in C tier, even though it kind of sucks, but we'll take what we can get in the 12th dynasty, I guess. The White Pyramid is nothing more than a pile of rubble because it was heavily quarried for stone. I mean, if your pyramid's not even important enough that they just decided to mine it up for stone, it's just an immediate F tier. Pyramid of Senusret II. You know, at first it doesn't look like much, but if you zoom in, there are actually quite a lot of bricks still remaining. Looks like mostly small bricks. There's some big stones on the side. I don't know what that's about, but at least it's not a big pile of dirt. So I'll put it in C tier just for standing out, I guess, in the 12th century or 12th dynasty. But still not all that impressive. And we have the Pyramid of Senusret III. Well, this one looks fairly interesting, actually. It's like in a big bowl shape. Clearly didn't hold up. The core was made of mud bricks. Oh, wow. I see. So if it's made of mud bricks, that might explain the color of this one and the last one. And it might also explain why it's in such shambles now. So I don't know. Nothing unique about this one. I'm just gonna put it in F tier. I'll put it in D tier. There's a little bit of remaining still. So Pyramid of Amenemhat III, also known as the Black Pyramid. Looks more like a brownish, dark brown. So apparently it is one of the 5 remaining pyramids of the original 11 pyramids at Dashur, which is where the bent pyramid is. The pyramid earned its name, the Black Pyramid, for its dark, decaying appearance as a rubble mound. I mean, that's not a name I would want if I was a pyramid, especially if it represents, just how messed up it is. I don't know, man. Once again, it was made of mud brick, and, it was quite big. I think it's the biggest of the 12th Dynasty, at least that. I could be wrong, but anyway, I'll give it D tier. It just doesn't look like much anymore. Actually, doing a little bit more research into this Dashur site. This is where the bent pyramid was, but also the red pyramid. So, pretty cool site. I just feel like this ugly-looking black pyramid really just doesn't belong here. I might have to bump it down to F. I'm not sure. I'll keep it in D tier, but you guys let me know what you think. So here we have the Pyramid of Hawara, and this was also built by Amenemhat III. He was the last powerful ruler of the 12th Dynasty, and he built this after the Black Pyramid. Once again, it just looks like a big hill now. Vaguely kind of looks like a pyramid, but and this is where he was buried. I mean, shouldn't have made it out of mud. I don't know. I'm gonna have to give this one D tier as well. Well, guys, we're really at the end here. There was a 13th dynasty after some really not that notable kings, and it seems like none of them have really survived whatsoever. And anyway, it looks like the very last pyramid. The very last pyramid was all the way in the future in the 18th dynasty. Something like almost 200 years later. And well, it looks like this. This pyramid was built by the Egyptian king Ahmose the First. And I mean, I guess they just, at this point, they're so far removed from the original, 4th dynasty, Great Pyramids. I do respect him for being the first pharaoh in a long time and the last one to build a pyramid. But there's just nothing left of it. It's only 10 meters high. It was originally 45 meters or 148 feet, so kind of about as big as the very first pyramids. But there's just nothing left, I think Ahmose the First was just truly born in the wrong generation. He would have been a great pyramid builder if he had been born 200 years earlier, but it's just sad to see. I want to put it in B tier almost. I will put in B tier just because, I mean, it's so cool. He revived an ancient art at that point. It was 200 years later. But anyway, that's all the pyramids we have in Egypt. Started out strong. They just started building crazy ass pyramids, and it just got more and more depressing the further you go on. Didn't expect it to be so sad, but it's just what happened. I mean, so many of these things were quarried for bricks, but they also made it with really crappy materials, and they just didn't last. So It's sad to see. Anyway, I'm glad you guys enjoyed this video. I know you did. I was gonna say I hope you did, but I'm glad that you did enjoy it. Thank you for watching.